Welcome everyone to today's webcast. This is going to be on a new tool, an introduction to a new tool that CTC is releasing very soon that allows us to import and export Civil 3D pipe networks to spreadsheets and go back and forth between Excel. My name is Brian Lewandowski. I'm going to do the presentation today. I'm the product manager at CTC for all of our civil products. And yeah, excited to show you guys what I have. Now I want to start with what are Civil 3D pipe networks like today. What are some pros? We work with nice 3D parts. We have detailed properties in these things. And it allows us to tabulate this stuff and work with all sorts of different properties, right? It's not just polylines and blocks. What are some of the cons, though, is that we don't have tools that allow us to really kind of work with pipe networks in a design type workflow. We end up having to edit parts one at a time. And so to address a number of these things, we've created a number of utilities in the past that many of you are using today. For example, one of them are Pipe Designer, and this allows you to work in a spreadsheet type interface where you can design entire pipe runs, and you can control by matching inverts and apply rules and all sorts of different things. Certainly one of our more popular tools. And then there's a multiple parts swapper that allows you to swap any number of parts in plan or profile view at once. A handy tool there as well. And then another tool called Parts Tagger that basically allows you to manage the attribute or kind of the metadata, not the geometry information, but the attribute information across all your structures, helping to do things like change surface adjustment values or assigning grades or populating descriptions across many parts at once. But we realized there's a greater need for another utility here. And so that's where this new tool that is coming out soon, we're calling it Pipe Jammer. And what this is going to allow us to do is to be exporting pipe networks to Excel, entire sets of pipe networks, and then to be able to import from Excel to update pipe networks. Now that's some of the basics there, but it's there's a lot to it. We can also, much like Pipe Designer, edit parts through an in-app spreadsheet like Pipe Designer, but it's not that kind of pipe run design. What this looks like is something like this. So you'll be able to choose a pipe network, and on the left side of the interface, you'll have all the pipes and structures that are available in that pipe network. You can then add any number of those parts into the middle table here, which is basically your spreadsheet. And then you can choose any fields that should be displayed. So the fields on the right side here basically create the columns, and then the parts on the left side create the rows. And you're able to build a highly customized report or spreadsheet or editing interface. The workflows for Pipe Jammer are just a myriad of them. I'm just going to give you guys an intro today, but we'll be certainly doing some more kind of deep dive workflow oriented webcasts in the future on this tool. But the gist of it is you get to build spreadsheets or tables or reports any way you want, any number of parts, any number of properties, and you can work right within this spreadsheet here, changing inverts, slopes, you name it, and then pushing that information right back to the drawing. Or you can take it to Excel, work with it there, run analyses there, or just export to get manual schedules or different reports you're after that you perhaps have to deliver. It may not be the workflow where you're going to Excel to make edits and then sync it back. It might just be reports that you're after. So again, a lot of different use cases for it. Like I said, creating a detailed structure and pipe reports. Here's just an example of Excel pulling out different information. We can push those Excel changes back to drawings. So many of you are running analyses in Excel where you've got spreadsheets set up with your flow formulas and all those hydraulic analyses. formulas in there, you can make those changes to sizes and inverts and so forth and push that stuff back. You can save templates, basically what your exports look like. That'll be unique to each and every one of you on different projects or at least within your individual organizations. You know, what columns go where, you can save that stuff out to templates. And so I want to give you a little intro on PipeJammer. We're going to jump into Civil 3D, give you a little taste of what it's like. Again, this is releasing a few weeks, so what I'm showing you here is not what the final release will be. There's still a number of things we're working through, of course, but I wanted to give you guys a little sneak peek of it. So I'm in Civil 3D 2021 here, and I just have a basic drawing with some pipe networks in it. Got a plan and a profile here, and we're going to jump into PipeJammer and see how this would work. By the way, this will be a part of the Sim Project Suite. It'll be part of the Pypes portfolio of tools here. Here's what the three I mentioned just a bit ago, and so that new tool will show up right in here in the Sim Project Suite. So if I launch Pypes Edit, I get that similar interface that we had just seen. And if we poke around a little bit, first thing I see is I can choose my network. We'll choose our storm network. And then all those parts show up over here. Now, what are we trying to do? Perhaps I'm just trying to create a simple table. Maybe I want to load parts and edit some properties right in the interface here. A variety of things we can do. Let's start fairly basic so you can understand how this works. I can grab any number of parts, control selecting, shift selecting, and when I pick the arrow right up here, the single arrow, it adds it into the middle grid. Now, if I grab the double arrow, it grabs everything, all pipes and structures from that entire network and puts it over here. Okay. Once it's over here, I can make edits to it, or I can export to Excel. So what's going to be exported is what you see in the middle grid here. So I can push this back, add those parts back again. We can grab a few structures. And notice it shows up with just a default, what's the network, the part name, and the description. And how we view this, you have options as well. There's an All tab, there's a Structure tab, where it shows just the structures, and then there's a Pipe tab, and it shows just the pipes. Now, you might be creating a pipe report or just a structure report, or maybe you're putting all in one report, but you want to be able to view things and edit things or add properties based on looking at just the structures or just the pipes. Okay, and what tab I'm on also dictates what the property list looks like over here. Notice as I switch from Structure tab to Pipe tab, this list of properties will change over here because these are the ones relative to pipes only. If I'm on the All tab, it'll show all properties and it'll suffix the category with pipe or structure so you can keep it straight. Now I can grab information like in the invert. I click the arrow right in the middle here and it adds that information. Now if I add more parts over here, it's going to populate that information so you can assemble this table kind of any way that you want. So invert, we'll put in start invert kind of in any order that you wish, that you choose. And notice some of these fields are gray, some are white. We're still sorting through some of that shading, but there are fields that are read-only that you may want to just have contribute to a particular report. But then there are fields, of course, that we can edit as well. So changing any of these invert values, right? So this is pipe 7, okay? I can work right in here, just like a standard spreadsheet, and changes to this will push to the drawing. So this is 784.5. Okay, I can type right in here. It works like a spreadsheet. If I apply this to the drawing, is drawing updated successfully, and we should see the pipe update down here. Let's try that again, 784.5. There we go, updated down here. We're still working through some of the syncing between these tabs here, but the point is that we can work and build an interface to edit our pipe networks any way we want, okay? So again, multiple use cases for this. Now I can hit apply and see those changes take place, or I can hit OK, and it's basically the same thing, but it closes the interface afterwards. Let's open that up again. Now, one of the handy things is that it remembers your last settings. And so I can continue to build things out in this way. Let's say we're going to add all the parts in here. We're going to work with the entire pipe network. And we can add more properties in here. Perhaps we want to look on the structure tab. And basically, any property you can think of that is associated with your pipes and structures is accessible in here. Again, some of them are read-only, some of them are editable. It depends on what you're trying to do, what information. For structures, notice I'm on the structure tab, we have pipes in and pipes out information. Get my rim to sump height, add that in there. Maybe I want my inner structure diameter. Now, how this stuff comes through, say I'm building a report and I don't want the header to say rim to sump height, okay? That's the out-of-the-box term for that. We can actually edit the headers right in here as well. And if you remember, I mentioned the template option. So when you save out a template, it's going to save what headers and what columns are showing here, as well as any overrides you made to that header name. There's certainly more formatting controls in here as well. If I go into options, under formatting here, I get to control the capitalization. So right now it's set to title case, but maybe I want all caps or something like that. What's the precision I want being reported in my table here? And what is the decimal digit grouping? Some more European standard is reverse of what we find in the US. And then some of the options, we can create pipe depth reports. So I'll give you a screenshot of that a little later. We're going to get into that in detail in some other webcasts here, but you have control on how it does this. So there's a lot of math behind the scenes where it'll calculate pipe depth and lengths of those pipes at a certain depth range, and you have controls on that here as well. Now let me show you the template option here. I'm going to close this down, and then I'm going to, just on my other screen here, I'm going to kind of reset the default settings. So it gets me back to that standard view where we just had network name and description. And let's say we built a template earlier. Now this is how you might be used to using this once you build a couple templates and understand how it works. What fields you want showing here, right? That's going to vary depending on what you're after. So I've got templates saved in here, and all parts report. And when I load this, it's going to populate all of those headers, or basically all those property types. For pipes, I've got all the information for my structures. Okay. Now I can certainly change this after the fact. It just read the template, loaded it one time. If I don't want the length in there, I can remove that. Okay, and we can add the entire storm network in for this. Now let's take this and let's export to Excel and see what that looks like. So If you're not going to Excel with it, again, you can just make edits in the middle spreadsheet here. You can hit OK or apply, and it will write to the drawing. There's kind of a lot of nuances. Like I said, there's read-only and there's editable fields. I'm not going to get into a ton of detail on that today. I just want to give you an overview of how PipeJammer will work. So I can come over here. Where do I want to write this to? I can click the Browse button, and let's say we want to make a new spreadsheet. We'll call it Storm Table. So that's just an empty spreadsheet. And I've got some choices here. I can create new sheets or I can write to an existing sheet. Let's start by doing create a new sheet. And then I've got my structures and pipes, and I can choose how this writes. I can do structures and pipes on separate tabs or all on one tab. And how it sorts in here, you have control on is it pipes and structures, or do you want to manually sort it? You can control all that. Basically, it'll sort based on whatever you have in the spreadsheet. And we can also include headers or not, depending on if we have something pre-set up. So what we'll do is we'll export to that spreadsheet. We'll see it create that export. And then we'll export again to kind of show the workflow where you have a pre-made spreadsheet and you just want to write this data to it, but you don't want to overwrite some analysis fields. You don't want to overwrite perhaps custom headers, that kind of thing. So let's take this. I think I got everything I want here. We'll run export. Data exported successfully. Go ahead and open up that table. And I missed my structures. What did I miss? Oh, I don't think I added all my structures. Let's try that again. Yeah, by the way, so the button's right here. Depending on the tab you're on, all structure or pipe. If I'm on structure, and what I had done as I was on pipe, when you click the add all button, it's just adding all pipes. If you're on the all, it'll add all parts to the middle grid. And so that's what I missed there. So let's grab that again. We'll make that new spreadsheet just to show you that same workflow, storm table. We'll create new sheets, we'll include the headers, and then we'll export that. All right, so we told it to write structures and pipes on separate tabs. And it did that for us. There was the existing empty sheet. We can go ahead and delete that for now. Okay. Now, a lot of you probably have custom report templates. You'll be able to browse to those and write directly to those. Or you can path to these cells from a different spreadsheet, however you choose to do it. PipeJammer will write to an existing spreadsheet or just create a new one, whatever you want it to do. And to just give you an idea of what we can do, if, depending on your report format, you might want these headers to say something different. You can do that in here. Maybe there's additional rows with more table information on here. And what this looks like is if we go ahead and save this, and again, maybe we had, maybe we're bringing this out to run analyses in Excel, right? And what I want to be able to do is write information just to this set of cells, right? And leave the rest of the cells alone. And so what will that look like? So let's go ahead and save this. Notice, so I did a couple overrides here, right? A couple changes. And then just so we can make it clear, we'll clear this information out, all the values here, and I'm going to save this. So this kind of simulates our starting template, right? So we'll close out of that, and now we're back in here, and I've run this again, right? And now I want to write this information out to that same storm table, but this time I want to write to existing sheets. And when that's the case, the sheets that are in that spreadsheet will show up in here, and I just named them pipe and structures, or they were named pipe and structures on the initial creation, but they can be named whatever you want. The names of those Excel tabs will show up right here. And then we want to not include headers this time, and we want to have structures and pipes on separate tabs again. So depending on your sheet tabs, you'll choose those accordingly right here. And now here's what's different though, right? We were writing to cell A1. We want to write to cell A2 without headers. And it's important that you uncheck include headers, because if we leave that on in A2, we're going to get a second set of headers, but we've already got our headers in there, right? So the combination of an Excel template and your Pipe Jammer templates are going to make this stuff match up seamlessly every time for you guys. So I'm going to export this again right to the existing sheet. It says exported successfully. We'll open up that Excel sheet. Okay. Here's where we clear that information out. All of it wrote back here again, and my custom headers, whatever information I have in here for running analyses, all of that stays in place. Now, I'm not going to go through a detailed analysis here, but changes in Excel can be pushed back to Civil 3D. Okay, so we're messing around. Let's just make a change to pipe 7, for example. That starting invert, we had dropped it from 785 or something. Let's put this back to 785. Okay, and I'll save this out. Okay, I'm going to close that sheet. Come back to Civil 3D. We'll close out of this. Now I'm going to run the sister command to the first one, and this is the pipes import command. So two different ways to run this. If you're looking to create reports, you would use the first utility where you build those out, export, you've got your Excel spreadsheet. If you want to go to Excel to make changes to your pipe network, run analysis, change sizes, and so on, you use that first module, go to Excel with it, do your work there, and then you come here and write those changes back. Or if you don't want to go to Excel, and this is one of the main things we are after is, why are people going to Excel to do a lot of this stuff? Well, because it's so flexible. Well, what we've done is we've basically put Excel right in an in-app interface right in Civil 3D. So a ton of the functions that you're used to in Excel exist here as well. I can put formulas in here, okay? I can run my hydraulic calculations right in here. I can save that stuff to templates and load those all right within this formula. And by the way, where it saves out to a path that you set right in options, and it saves out a basic JSON file. This is just to open it up in Notepad, okay? So it's a text editable template. This is just the metadata that's saved so that I can populate everything, all the right headers and so forth in this field. So what I'm getting at is you don't have to necessarily go to Excel. You can do spreadsheet type analysis and editing right within the app itself, or if you're more comfortable going to Excel, do that. Let's go back to that pipes import. And here we simply pass to that same Excel table. It's going to read that table. Got a few options. Where is this information going to write to? Okay. And it highlights things that were changed. Now it's not showing up here because I didn't do a whole lot of changes, but let's say, for example, that we had changed the pipe -7 and we just called it 7, right? So how these things match up, it's based on the network name and the name field of the part. Okay, so if you go and change the part name in Excel and then sync back, it's not going to know what part, right, to update, because it's just Excel. It's not an actual pipe network out there. It's just a spreadsheet. So those are the two key properties needed to match things up. Now, what it will do is flag those as unmatched, and you can filter things by matched and unmatched data up here. And then you can manually say, go ahead and, for pipe 7, match that to, pipe dash parentheses 7. Okay. Then if we import this, we should see our pipes update here. So we change that invert. Okay. So that's your basic workflow with PipeJammer. Now, what are the applications? Right, I said there's dozens of applications for this. I think one of the main things people are going to want to go to Excel, run analyses, and sync those changes back. They're going to make pipe size changes and so on, right? And then there's all the different structure schedules and pipe reports that we need to create. A lot of the stuff in Civil 3D leaves a lot to be desired. I know in fact, the Project Explorer utility that came out from is now part of Civil 3D. There's a number of things in there. You're not going to see anywhere near the flexibility kind of in the power that you have in here in that Project Explorer. And a lot of you are using Sim Project Suite already, so this utility is just going to show up for you when it gets released. So a few additional features, if I didn't mention them, creating formulas, right? So we can run analyses right within the in-app spreadsheet if we want. We can create empty columns that would be like space holders in the app, so that when it exports to Excel, perhaps that's a field that's calculated in our spreadsheet. We're going to be able to create pipe depth reports. So I mentioned this earlier, we'll run analysis and check depths, basically cover based on invert or top of pipe on given pipes, and add up the lengths based on user or settings we get to control, and build out a table for you like this, right in the app or to push right to Excel. How this stuff sorts, you're going to have detailed control on that, like just sorting by the header, ascending or descending, or you can manually sort different rows and columns however you see fit. And then all of that again can be saved out to a template. It's going to support drainage areas, right? So as you sketch out or create drainage areas for those different catch basins, that information can be pulled in as well and brought into your analyses. So I want to mention a couple of things, and then we'll go. I saw some questions come in, so any other questions, please feel free to keep typing those in, and then we'll go ahead and address those. PipeJammer releases in a few weeks. We're working through a lot of miscellaneous things to bring it to the finish line. But as I said, it'll be part of the Sim Project Suite. And you just need to, if you're an existing license holder, just get the new installer. You can download it from the About menu or talk to your IT. Make sure you get the new version. The latest version right now, by the way, is 21.0.4. This will be releasing with our 2022 releases. Civil 3D just came out, 2022, by the way. It just came out, was released by Autodesk. And so we always release just a few weeks behind them with all of our updates. So everything, all of our tools will be supported for 22, and then this tool will be added to the Sim Project Suite as well. If you don't own the Sim Project Suite, talk to your reseller. In the US, that's ATG, USA, and Canada, it's SolidCAD. Outside of US and Canada, contact CTC Software. So with that, I wish you all a good day. I don't see any more questions coming in, so we'll adjourn here and we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.